Hope you're doing well. It's the start of a new week, and it's a week of West Ham are back in action playing football. I've missed West Ham playing. I'm such an enjoyment at the moment about the club. I'm really feeling good about West Ham. That it's just the fact we haven't played this weekend the FA Cup. I've actually found it a little bit hard to watch actually the FA Cup in some regards. I mean, I always love watching football, but there was a big part of me all weekend thinking, "God, I wish we were in this." I feel really. It's a shame that West Ham didn't act sooner, doesn't it, on the Lopetegui? What could have been, or whether or shouldn't have pointed him in the first place. Should have brought Potter in. But look, there's no for dwelling on that. It's look forward. We've got Brentford on Saturday. I can't wait. I'm really buzzing. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good day. Even if it is going to be crappy weather. I mean, it's not looking good today, is it? Let's be honest. It's a proper winter's day today. It is grey and wet and windy and horrible. But it's not killed my mood at all. I'm feeling good. Before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, do subscribe. It takes 2 seconds to do so, and we do really appreciate it. And also hit that like button. We've been 600 likes we got on a previous video. Well, I don't know if it's the last one, the one before, whatever it was, but 600 likes. That's my record so far. So if we can keep adding to that, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Here to talk a little bit about the sort of general news. I just want to make it very clear. This isn't an exclusive. This isn't coming from XWHU employee or anything like that. This is nothing. When I record this anyway, this is coming from the press and general media surrounding Jean-Clair Todibo and his future. And basically what is being reported is that Manchester United have made Todibo a top target for the club this summer, and they're going to make a move to try and sign him. Of course, bit of back history with regards to Manchester United and Todibo. He was a big target for them last summer when West Ham signed him. So that was the defender they really wanted. It was between Manchester United and Juventus. That was kind of the initial battle. Who was going to get the player? West Ham came in not 11th hour. We were early doors as well, but it always felt like they were the two sort of favourite club. But because of UEFA rulings, Manchester United weren't able to get the deal done. They would have broken rules because of club ownership, things like that. So basically, the path was actually open for Juventus. West Ham, though, just outmuscled Juventus financially, which is mad to say, isn't it? When if you go back to the 90s and don't think something like that, West Ham could outmuscle the likes of Juventus to sign a player, unheard of. But we were more than capable of doing so, and I think we annoyed Juventus in the process of doing that, and rightly so. I mean, they would be annoyed, but they felt they were going to get the deal done for the defender. Think that was I know that was his preferred choice. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to go there, but West Ham were able to get the deal done, and we got the player in. The jury's still very out on Todibo. I'm going to be honest. I personally like him. I think he's a good player. I think he has shown to be a player that possesses a lot of quality and someone that we can certainly build and use and start to fit into the way that we want to play. I think he's going to be an outstanding player for West Ham. I really do. I'm really excited by him, but I appreciate there's also still some concerns with the player. Now it's coming to reporting now that Manchester United have made him a top target for the summer. I've got sort of two parts to this that make me think it's not quite true. Firstly, Manchester United have changed managers since their initial interest. Ten Hag was the manager at the time, wanted Todibo at Manchester United. The whole system's changed now at Manchester United. We know that, not just the ownership. There's big structural changes at Manchester United. They've obviously brought in Ruben Amorim as their new manager. Things obviously aren't going so well at the moment for him there. But so that's my first part that makes me feel a bit like, okay, I struggle to believe that he would still be a top target. The second part is, on what grounds would he still be a top target? Because he hasn't exactly set the world alight at West Ham. And bearing in mind, West Ham are going to be signing the player in the summer for £30 million. We've got the obligation to do so now. So he will his deal to West Ham will become permanent once the season concludes. And we will have to spend £30 million. Now, if you're considering the fact West Ham are going to be spending £30 million on Todibo, that immediately indicates, well, then West Ham are going to want that money back immediately if Manchester United are going to come in for him, or maybe we want a little bit more. I just struggle to believe Manchester United are really going to fork out £30 million on a defender, or 35 million, whatever it may take to get him, following a season where he hasn't really done a lot for West Ham. He's been out obviously injured, which obviously isn't his fault. but you wouldn't go, wow, the games he's played, you can see why they're sniffing around. I do get the feeling there's a possibility here that this might be a little bit of lazy journalism in terms of, well, he was linked there before, maybe we'll just make a link that he'll be coming there. And so, I mean, it's quite a, the fact that he was a top target, they wanted him, they couldn't get it done. West Ham, they were able to get the deal done. It kind of makes sense that what would follow on is now that he's no longer associated with Nice, that they could now get a deal done with West Ham. I can understand that. But I still do struggle to believe that at this stage of where we are, we've just finished the January transfer window. I do struggle to believe that Manchester United is still, they consider Todibo a top choice. That's not to say that he's not, okay? That it could well be that is the case. I'm just struggling a little bit to believe it. But I actually think if it's true, let's just go with the basis that Manchester United have made Todibo a top target. I actually think it's a good situation for West Ham. It puts us in a great position because we're obliged to buy him anyway. So we've got to spend 30 million quid on him. Now let's just say that he's okay this season. Does all right. Not brilliant, does all right. But Manchester United are really, really keen. And Potter thinks, okay, I'm happy to cash in, get our £30 million back, Bob Jarney, and then we go on and reinvest our money elsewhere. I don't think that's a bad situation. The other scenario is he does really, really well for Potter this season when he comes back to fitness, which will be for the Brentford game. By the way, he is back in training today. And then he decides to keep him. I feel like this actually scenario is a win-win for West Ham. We're in a pretty strong place here when it comes to Todibo. My personal thoughts on Todibo, as I've said, I really like him. I really rate him. And I'll tell you what, if you consider what Graham Potter has done thus far as West Ham manager, head coach, whatever, in terms of the time he's been at the club and how he's managed to improve players already and have players playing well in systems that we've seen previously they weren't so great at. I mean, we're looking at a midfield, what was it, Irvin and Souček? I'm thinking, oh my God, what is that for a midfield? And it worked. If he's able to get these players playing to that kind of level, then I'm excited to see what he can do with the likes of Todibo. Because every player I'm seeing at West Ham, I mean, is improving under Potter. So I'm really looking forward to having Todibo back. I think he'll enjoy it. Because one of the things that was very evident in terms of his early days at West Ham, early in the season for Todibo, is that he didn't have a good relationship with Lopetegui, like many. Another one to add to the list. You know, reports of a punch-up, weren't there, the Arsenal game? So the fact is, there's no doubt that if that is the case, which it was the case, you know, I don't know the details of exactly what happened in the dressing room, but we know there was a serious altercation, then surely he's in a happier place. Naturally, he's going to be, isn't he? If he's now gone, your problem, you've guy you've fallen out with, and his team's now gone. You've now got this new guy in, and let's be honest. From what I've seen of Graham Potter, he comes across as a very likable guy. He doesn't come across as someone I think, oh, he must be a bit difficult to work for at times. I think, yeah. I mean, we've already got it from Andy Irvine. The squad, he come out and said the players absolutely can't wait to get into training. I think Todibo's going to do well under Potter. I really do. I'm really excited by it. So I'm not really convinced on this. I'm going to be honest, but the reports are suggesting that is going to be the case, that Manchester United are going to line up. They want to make him a top target and he will be heading to Manchester United this summer. As I said, I don't think it's a bad scenario either way. I really don't. I really think for West Ham, it's fine, good. I'm glad you're interested because we can then, if it doesn't quite work out, we're not quite sure, we can sell him on. However, if he's really great, then we hold all the cards. We can say, okay, you can have him. You can have 50 million. So I think it's not a bad scenario if that is the case. As I say, I'm taking everything with a little bit of a pinch of salt. I feel like this week, especially with West Ham news, very, very quiet because West Ham are just busy on the training ground. Players had the weekend off, which I think was nice for Potter to give them so. I mean, that's another way to do yourself to get your fat players on side, I think, as well. Let them say to them, look, go and spend a couple of days with your family, have a bit of a break. I think it's good for not just physically, but like for the mental side of the game as well, to have a bit of a breather. Let's be honest, it's been a slog of a season. I feel like we've much to play for now, have we? Let's be honest. So we just, other than just finishing the season as strongly as we can, giving Potter that time to work with his players. But I feel like this is a good move from him, getting back this week and lead him up into the weekend. And as I said, I'm buzzing for Saturday. I really, really am. So it's that's kind of the sort of the bigger news at the moment. The other stuff that's sort of lingering around is Daniel Cummings of Celtic, the striker, the young striker that we are understood to be very close to getting a pre-contractual agreement with. It seems to have gone quiet. As far as we understand it, Mark Noble's leading these talks. Whether we're desperate to try and get it agreed right now, I don't really know. I'd like us to get it done. He's clearly very highly rated. Celtic are not happy about the situation. They don't want to let him go. They want to keep him. I really hope we can just get this deal over the line, because we want to add to our firepower. We want to add to our strikers. The fact he's a young, up-and-coming, really highly rated striker, I want to bring him to West Ham. I really do. So I'm hoping that we can get some positive news on that. The other bit of news I've seen, I might do another video on this, depending on how serious this is. And it's regarding Lucas Paqueta. So there's noises going around that a £20 million potential deal to Flamengo to see him go to back to Brazil, and West Ham are open to it, and they're going to pay the money. Again, I do struggle a little bit with these stories, and the reason being is just because of the scenario surrounding it. I mean, really, you're going to get clubs willing now to pay £20 million for Lucas Paqueta? Really? Like, with what's going on? Again, I'm struggling with that one. I'm going to struggle. But again, that's not to say it's not true. It's just my thought at the moment. I'm a little bit reluctant to believe it completely. So be interesting to see how that one pans out. What we'll do is we'll find obviously more information out from XWH employee on it, and then we'll do another video or whatever it may be. But so that might have to save that one for another time. But that's the news I've heard at the moment, that Flamengo are looking at a possible £20 million deal for Lucas Paqueta. Following his performances so far, I want to see him stay. I mean, obviously the summer, we don't know what's going to happen, do we, with this betting allegation stuff. So if West Ham are able to cash in, it totally makes sense. That's what makes me think, why would a club take on such a big gamble with a player that is potentially going to get a lifetime ban? That's the potential here. I'm struggling with that. So let's wait and see how that one pans out. But yeah, Todibo to Man United, no problem with that link at all. No problem with that link at all. As I say, I'm not entirely sold on it. I do think it could be a little bit of lazy journalism. But however, if there is some truth to it, and he's on their list, then well, I don't think it's a bad scenario for us at all. Look, we'll go some more videos this week. We've got the West Ham Way podcast is out this evening. That's on the Patreon, so that'll be X giving his views on what's happening behind the scenes. So we're usually off the back of what he says, we tend to do some videos on the news that's coming out there. So that'd be quite interesting. But my mind's firmly on Saturday now. Can't wait. Really can't wait. I'm buzzing to get back to the London Stadium and back to West Ham, and I've got a good feeling about this game. I've been looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to the match preview, which will be out on Friday. But look, we'll be out another video about tomorrow, I'm sure. So until then, have a good one, and come on, you irons.